Welcome to the Healthy Activities and Food webinars. This is the second part of session 2, Inclusive Cookery, Children with Special Dietary Requirements. It's important to find out about children's dietary requirements before you even start a session. This involves talking with parents and filling in a consent form before serving a lunch or cooking a meal with children. In any group of children, there will be lots of different dietary needs, but it's really important that we find out about allergies in particular, which could be threatening, and also whether children have any different cultural or religious reasons that they are not eating certain types of food. You may need to shop for special dietary products such as dairy-free or gluten-free, and you may need to buy some halal meat or some vegetarian products. You should aim to make all of the children feel included, no matter what their diet is, but it can be a really good opportunity to talk to children about different diets and different preferences, and also helping them understand about the importance of understanding allergies. If you are doing more than one session, it's good to spend the first session doing an activity which is allergen-free. By allergen, we mean the 14 allergens that are recognised by the Food Standards Agency. They are celeries, gluten, crustaceans, eggs, fish, lupin, milk, mollusk, mustard, nuts, peanuts, sesame seeds, soya and sulfur dioxide. Some of these sound a little strange. The ones that we need to worry about most and that are most common with children are gluten, eggs, dairy, milk, mustard and nuts. Sesame seeds can also be a common allergy with children. If you find that you have a child with food allergies in your session, you need to make sure that they can safely join in. This will mean buying separate products for them or making sure that the ingredients used are allergen-free. To do this, you need to make sure you know what you're serving, particularly if you're buying anything that's shop bought, such as breads or dairy products or sauces. Generally, we don't use nuts in food sessions with school-aged children because most schools are now nut-free. Be aware of allergens that are hidden in shop-bought products. It's worth knowing about the common hidden allergens before you start buying ingredients, as these are the ones that are easy to make mistakes with. Gluten is often present in sauces, and it's also present in soy sauce. You can buy an alternative called tamari, which is wheat-free and is also slightly stronger. Dairy is often hidden in shop-bought breads. Eggs are often in sauces and different processed foods, including breads, and especially in wheat-free products. So do make sure that you're checking labels. Many children who have nut allergies also have sesame allergies, and sesame is present in hummus. It's a legal requirement to record all of the allergens present in food that you're serving if you are a restaurant or a cafe. So therefore, it is also a requirement if you're cooking food for children or with children. These are called allergen matrix and they are available from the Environmental Health website or in your toolkit pack. They're easy to complete, they take just a few minutes, and they can be the difference between making a mistake that could be life-threatening to a child. They're also a way of reassuring parents and children that you're thinking about the ingredients that you're using. Make sure that you think through every ingredient. So if you're making a wrap with mayonnaise, you need to list the contents of the wrap. You also need to include the wrap and the mayonnaise. Keep this paperwork handy and accessible so that if people need to check or if a child has a reaction to something, you can actually check what ingredients are in there. These are your record of what you're using, and they are something that shouldn't be taken lightly. Dietary requirements can also be for religious or cultural reasons, and it's important that we make sure that we can provide for children with different dietary requirements during food sessions and also when serving them lunch. Before you start cooking with or cooking for groups of children, it's good to know a little about the religious dietary requirements. You can find more information about this on the internet and just by looking on the Food Standards Agency. In Islam, Muslims follow strict food laws and only eat food which is prepared and cooked in line with Islamic law. This means they can only eat halal meats. Pork is also forbidden. If you're cooking with Muslim children, you can either use halal meat, which you buy either from a supermarket or a specialist butcher, but you must use separate utensils, separate boards and separate cooking equipment. You could also use fish, which is allowed, or you could use a vegetarian option if either fish or halal meat aren't available. In Judaism, Jewish people can't eat anything which isn't kosher, which means that the animal must be slaughtered according to Jewish law. Pork is also forbidden, and there are some foods that can't be served together. It's always worth talking with Jewish families before you start, as some are more strict than others. In Hinduism, the cow is a sacred animal, and so Hindus do not eat beef. Some Hindus also practice vegetarianism. There is a difference between vegetarians, pescatarians and vegans, and it's good to know this before you start. Vegetarians don't eat any meat or fish, but they do eat dairy products and eggs. If you're cooking with vegetarian children, you can use beans and lentils, soya, tofu and various meat-free products in place of meat. Be aware that when you're using these meat-free products, they are often highly processed and also contain allergens. Vegans don't eat any animal products at all. This includes meat, fish, dairy, eggs, and often honey. Vegan alternatives can be the same as vegetarian alternatives, but be aware that many meat-free products do contain egg. Pescatarians do not eat meat, but they do eat fish. Not all vegetarians eat fish, so it's important to establish this before you start cooking with children who said they are vegetarian on a list. If you've got any doubts at all about what a child can and can't eat, always check with the parent or carer. They would prefer to have a text or a short phone call than for you to make a mistake. Make sure that when you're cooking food for different dietary requirements, particularly for children with allergies, that you are using separate tools, separate equipment, and that you've clearly labelled all the food that you're using. Cooking should be an inclusive experience, and it should be something that encourages children to do this again. So by relaxing and making sure that we know in advance what we're catering for, we can ensure that every child has a fun, active and healthy, happy holiday.